I can tell you that in the beginning, in the early years, the time frame that I'm talking to you about, 07, 08, 09, it seemed like nobody wanted to hear from me because I think they wanted my guy.
Right.
That switched sometime not too long after that. And I would say that my encounters with them over the last decade or so have been more, what do you got? We'll look at it. We'll, take it in. And so there's definitely been a shift. But everybody that I've encountered, even the ones that I think were adverse to, my client or me at that point,
Right.
in my opinion, they all wanted to solve this case. They had their theories. They might have thought this defense attorney is doing whatever he can do to create doubt around his client, which I was, but I was also giving them leads, doing my job, but I was also giving them what I thought were investigative leads. I mean, I'm no Sherlock Holmes, but when somebody nicknames themselves after a serial killer who kills prostitutes and dumps them in water, I don't know. I'd take a look at that guy.
Yeah. Well, you would hope that. I mean, did you, from your own knowledge, like, did they go and talk to that guy, or did they look into that guy?
They had all the information. What they did with it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that individual's alive or not. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, certainly, I know that, they've been making a lot more advances in just from personal experience. They've been making a lot of advances in DNA. So you wonder at some point, does that advancements bridge a gap that they might have in identifying the profile for the killer?
But you also have to say to yourself, we're going on 19 years.
Yeah.
Whoever this person is might be deceased.
Yeah.
Like witnesses might be we're talking about, think about all the prosecutors that I mentioned. Blitz is retired.
Yeah.
Prosecutor Housel, God rest his soul, he passed away. Prosecutor McLean is still, active.
Yeah.
Prosecutor Tyner, they're no longer with the office, right? But the point being is there were investigators that have retired, some have passed. So the passage of time never helps with these cases. It just doesn't.
For sure, you gotta imagine there's gonna be a point where they're just gonna close it. And it may not be for a while from now, but at some point they're going to say, you know what, this person is more than likely deceased. We've exhausted all investigative leads. Like there's really bearing like some sort of technological advancement that neither one of us can foresee. Like, at some point they're probably going to say like, there's just nothing more we can do. But it didn't seem like they'd reached that point yet, at least when I was
right. And listen, my goal and my responsibility to all of this was to prove, in my opinion, that they were wrong about my client.
Right.
And I think I did that. He's been free for almost 2 decades, and he remains free, living his life. So to that point, I did my job, and I know that they're doing theirs. And I will say this is one that I can absolutely say I am rooting for them. I am rooting for them.
Yeah, I mean,
to find the killer.
Right.
But I am absolutely certain that if they do, and God willing they do, that they're going to find out that it wasn't my guy. But there shouldn't be somebody walking among us that's capable of taking the lives of 4 women and they just get away with that. That can't happen. So I'm rooting for the state to eventually find the person or persons responsible for those murders.
Is that trail where the women were the bodies were dumped? Like, was that trail, like, I don't know if hidden is the right word, but was it one of those things where if you didn't live in Atlantic City or live in the area that you wouldn't really know about it?
I can tell you this. I was born in Atlantic City. I spent a lot of time working in the casinos, spent a lot of time driving the Black Horse Pike, the Atlantic City Expressway. I never knew what was between the two.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I would assume that if you ever frequented those motels, you would know that it existed. I would assume that if you maybe did work on, like, the highways or you knew what was back there. But I would think that if you were a guy from New York, you would not know about that. So
Yeah.
that's a very good question. The motel that we're talking about was called the Golden Key Motel. It's no longer there. It was razed. It's just, the footprint of it is still there. And so are some of the other places back there. But that's what it is.
Right. Right. Yeah, it makes you wonder, whoever did this at a minimum, like visited that area recreationally enough to know that this trail was there, which,
Correct.
did that person stumble upon the trail? Did he find out about it and say, you know what, this would be a great spot to dump some body? Or did he just know about it already? Yeah, that other individual, the Riverman, like you said he was from Florida. Did he move did he grow up in Florida or did he move down there?
So the document that he mailed to the woman was postmarked from Florida with a phony address.
Right. That's right. You said it was phony.
From what I gather, because I did some research on him, I got the impression that he was a little bit of a drifter. So I don't know exactly where he was from. I can tell you that, and I'm not going to put his name out there, but when you go down the rabbit hole of what was talked about, and you look his name up,
was his name public? Like, did they report on him?
Nobody ever reported on him, but it's out there somewhere. You can find anybody that really wants to go digging. It's you can find who this person is or was, whatever. But a family member actually posted on a message board to this individual, "Hey, if you're still alive, this is my address, my number. Reach out to me." So I think even this individual's own family was looking for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how old was he at the time?
If I'm not mistaken, he was probably in his 50s or 60s. He wasn't a super young man. So presumably now would be in his 70s or later, but I don't know that he's necessarily living like, I don't know that he was going to the gym a lot and making doctor appointments.
Yeah, I mean, who knows if he is still alive? Who knows what kind of health issues he has at this point? But yeah, you hope they solve it one day. I was rooting for him when I was there. Obviously, I wasn't involved in the investigation. I just knew they were doing it, and you always sat there and hoped that maybe they'd make a break in the case, but at this point, who knows?
Some very good investigators, a good office of people that are compassionate and care. I will tell you that those that are currently assembled in the major crimes and whatnot, this would be the team that would bring it home, I would think. So
yeah,
we'll see.
It's a shame. It's a shame when you got a good team of people and they're going in there opening a file that's 20 years old. There's only so much that like you read a report and you're thinking to yourself, well, what's the answer to question X? Well, that was never asked. Now that witness is deceased, right? So it stinks to the extent that you got really good guys working the case now, and maybe if there had been a different attitude back then, they could have asked those questions that are now, unfortunately, perhaps unasked forever. But Jim, I think we hit.
Lou, I appreciate you. I wish you the best as you host this for as long as you do. You're stepping into some big shoes.
Yeah,
Meg Warner, who started it, is someone that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. Little known fact, I know that this came up somewhere in something that she and I did together. Many, many years ago, when I was an intern in the Philadelphia DA's office in the late 90s, I was Meg Horner's intern. Not a lot of people know that. And then all these years later, we reconnected when she was a prosecutor in Cumberland and Cape May, and then as a very well-respected defense attorney. But Can't find them better than Meg. I can tell you.
I was
the best.
I'll tell you a similar story. I was Marissa McGarvey and Emily Bell's intern back in
Okay.
2014. But
Two good ones there. Two good ones for sure.
Yeah, so Emily's over. She's in the Cumberland Public Defender's office now. She's doing doing drug court, and then I'm sure Marissa's at the AG.
She's in AG's office. So yes, so good lineage there. You learn from good ones, and I learned from a good one. The other person that I interned for became the actual district attorney in one of the counties outside of Philadelphia. So listen, those internships are very important. You forge good relationships, and it is what it is.
All right, Jim. Well, it was good talking to you. Thanks for coming.
Likewise.
I'll see you in court the next time I see
you soon. All right, take care, guys.
Bye-bye.